You're welcome once again to my channel. My name is Kumi. Today we'll be cutting and sewing this dress together. This is a mixture of liquid mikado and African print, which is also referred to as ankara. This dress is for a plus size, so I used a total of 4 yards, 3 yards of liquid mikado and 1 yard of African print. Without wasting much of your time, let's get started. Right here is my liquid mikado. On one side it is shining and on the other side it looks like our typical mikado fabric. This is my African print and here are two covered buttons. I have folded my fabric into two. I will go ahead and fold it one more time, which means my fabric is being folded into four. I'm doing it this way because I want to cut the front and back piece together. I'll go ahead and secure my fabric with pin. Come down by 1 inch from the rough edge downward and connect together with your ruler. This becomes our starting point. My client's shoulder measurement is 18, half of that is 9, so I'm going to mark 9. From that 9 inches, I'm going to mark our preferred sleeve length. Our preferred sleeve length is 14.5, but I will mark 12 and add 0.5 inch to it. Much later, I'm going to be attaching an ankara to the sleeve and it's going to be 2 inches wide. I've come down there by 1.5 inch. Right here, I will decide on the wideness of the neck. I will use 3 inches and then the depth will be 1 inch. So this depth is going to be for the back. As we proceed, I will still show you how to cut your front neckline. I'll connect the neckline to that 1.5 inch that we came down with the other time. This line is called shoulder slant. I'll come up here by 0.5 and right here I'll come up by 0.5, then connect together. That's going to be for seam allowance. You know you are going to join your shoulder, right? So this allowance is for that. At this point, don't place your tape here. Don't place your tape on the starting point. You know you came down by 1.5 inch the other time, right? So the tape is going to place on that 1.5 inch and then we'll mark the wideness of the sleeve. I'm using 16, then I added 0.5 to it. Originally our sleeve is 14. I just want some measure of ease right there. The next thing I'm going to do is to divide our hip by 4 and add 1 inch to it. Our hip is 57.5 divided by 4 plus 1 gives me 15.3, but I'm going to approximate it to 15.5. That's what I'm going to mark straight down all the way to the hem of this dress. Mind you, bust and hip are the same. Both are 57.5 while our waist is 50, but I won't be using our waist measurement. It's just a straight dress. I don't want it to be curvy. And if you multiply 15.5 by 4, you are going to have 62. By the time we hold half inch on both sides, we would have taken 2 inches away, so we would be left with 60. So if we remove 57.5 from 60, we would be left with 2.5. So that means she's going to have a ease of 2.5 around her hip and around her bust. I don't know if you understand me. 15.5, can you see? That's what I marked all the way. The next thing I'm going to do is to place my tape on the starting point this time. On the starting point, I'll measure all the way to that round sleeve. I'll check what I have and mark it right here. This is just to ensure that my measurements are accurate. I'll come down by 2 and I'll give it a slight curve. Then secure with your pin. It's very important. Now you can cut all the way. So I have cut it. Can you see what we have? Straight down. Can you see? Address length is 60, so I just added 1.5 inch for the hemming. Now I'm going to give this neck region a curve. Remember, this is for the back. The depth of the back is 1 inch. Now I'm going to mark the front neck depth. I will use 3 inches. I'll mark 3 inches like this. Come to this place and mark 7. I don't ever go beyond 7 if I do not want the cleavage of the person to show. In fact, if the person is short, I don't use up to 7 so the cleavage won't show. But in this case, she's quite tall, so I'll be using 7, which is my max. You also need it deep so that her head will be able to pass through, seeing that this dress is not going to have zipper. I'm going to cut like this. I'm going to trim this place off. I'll remove my pin to enable me trim off the neckline, the front neckline. So I'm just going to open it like this, remove this back piece. Can you see? Remember, our fabric was folded into 4 at the beginning, so I'm going to remove 1. Can you see? So this is going to be for our front piece. I'm going to trim off slightly, and I'm going to slit up all the way to that 7 inches. When opened up, this is what you should have. Can you see? And this is the back. This is going to be the pocket. This is 12 inches wide and 15 inches long, same as what I have here. There is no standard measurement to this. This is just my preference. Fold it into 2, whatever figure you use. Fold it into 2 and come in by 2 inches, and then come down by 6. Then I will slant it like this. You may decide to give yours a slight curve. It's all good. Whatever figure you use, just note that that slant didn't get to the midpoint. Do you understand? So 6 inches is not standard, but just ensure it doesn't exactly get to the midpoint. Ensure the pocket is placed at the center. But before then, I'm going to finish this side with my bias strip. Can you see? I have done that. So I'm going to place it like this, trying to be sure it's at the center. Secure with my pin, and I'll show you what next to be done. I think I need to adjust a little. Fold it on both ends by 0.5. Come to the other side. Right here, I'll fold it in by 0.5 as well. Likewise, the base. Going to fold it in by 0.5 as well. and then I'll go over to my sewing machine to stitch. The first place I will stitch is the upper part right here. Then don't stitch this side. Come here and stitch. Then stop here. So I've done that. This is what we have. That's that. Place the back on the front. Ensure the right side of the back is facing the right side of the front. Do well to secure your fabric with pin. This will save you from unnecessary headaches. Stitch the shoulder and overlock. Come to the side, secure with your pin as well. Stitch all the way to the hem of the dress with 0.5. I don't advise that you go more than that. If you use 1 inch at that armhole region, you are going to have a little bit of difficulty. It won't rest there except you notch with your scissors. Now I don't see any point for um sewing allowance if you are still going to have to notch it, and after notching it's not like you can release the allowance, so just use 0.5. Stitch. I'm going to stitch like this and overlock. So I've done that. I stitched with 0.5 and then I overlocked. Everything I did on one side I did on the other side as well. Now this is my shoulder. Can you see the other side? This strip is going to be for the 2 sleeves. Remember I said I will be attaching ankara to the sleeve, right? So the roundness is 16. Remember, this is 17. By the time I fold it like this and I stitch with 0.5, I'll be left with 16. Mind you, the width is 5. By the time I fold it into 2 as well, I'll have 2.5, and then I will stitch by 0.5. By the time I stitch with 0.5, I will be left with 2. So if you add 2 inches to that our 12 inch, we are going to get 14 inches. I'm going to fold it like this. I will ensure that that part that I joined is hidden under our armpits. I'll flip it like this, and I'm going to stitch all around. I have stitched and I've overlocked. This is what I have. We're almost ready. So we are left with the neck and the hem of the dress. But first, let's get the neck sorted out. I'm going to be using our African print. Fold the neckline into 2 like this. Ensure that the folded part of your main fabric is um is directly placed on the folded part of the fabric you would like to use on your neckline. Trace with your chalk just as you see me do. Trace like this. Remove it and decide how wide you want the neck facing to be. I don't want it too wide, so So I'm just going to use 2 inches all around. Let me show you how you are going to place it. What you should have after stitching is going to be like this. It will go all around the neckline. This is what we seek to achieve. But before then, we have one more facing to cut. So I'll go fold my fabric once again. I will ensure that the folded part is also placed on the folded part of the fabric I want to use for the facing. I'm going to secure with my pin, and I'm going to trace it out with chalk. But this width, I don't want it to be more than 1.5. There really is no point for it to be wide. So I'm going to start by trimming off this place. I will stop at that 1.5. I will slit this place and stop where the slit stops on the main fabric, and then I'll remove it, and I'll decide how wide I want it to be. I'll just continue with my 1.5, and right here I can come down by 2 inches, then connect together. When opened, this is what we have. So for this, the right side is facing the right side of the main fabric. I'm going to stitch like this. Don't stitch this place, no. Just stitch downward. Just stitch the V alone. I've stitched and I'm notching right now. If you look at the facing, you would also realize that I've overlocked the edges. I'm going to flip over like this, but I have difficulty flipping it. It's not exactly resting well, so I'm going to have to top stitch it so it can relax. After top stitching, I'll place this fabric, I'll place the facing inside. Unlike the other one that we sew from outside, this one will be placed inside. So the right side of my facing, the right side of my African print will be facing the rough side of my main fabric. Do you understand? When we were stitching that V, the right side of the facing was facing the right side of my main fabric. But this time around, the fabric is being placed inside. So the right side of that fabric of my facing is going to face the wrong side of my main fabric. I've stitched all around. I've top stitched as well. It's more relaxed now, even though I've not ironed it. I'll go ahead and notch. We notch curve regions so the fabrics can relax. It's not just a an habit. Once a region is curvy, it is advisable that you notch it. And trust me, you are going to spot the difference. So I'm just going to flip it over like this. Don't forget the right side of my ankara, that circle, faced the wrong side of the mikado. And then I stitched and I flipped over. And right now I'm going to stitch all around with 0.5 inch. This might require a little bit of patience considering the fact that it is circle. I've done that, and this is what I have. You can stitch this place, but I want it more, I want it neater, so I'll just put my hemming gum in there and I'll give it a very good press. I prefer this to stitching. This is the back. The next thing I'm going to do is to first overlock the edges of this fabric before inserting my hemming gum inside the hemming allowance, then give it a very good press. Also, I have come right here, inserted my hemming gum and given it a good press. If you look at the neckline very well, you will notice that it's a lot better than the way it was before I pressed it. This is the back view. I've also given it a good press and it's well relaxed now. And right here is the hem of our dress after ironing our hemming gum inside. Don't forget to overlock the edges of your fabric first before ironing your hemming gum inside, and also ensure that your hemming gum does not exceed the hemming allowance you give your dress. Can you see? The next thing is to place your button. Place the first button and determine how wide apart you want it to be from the second button. With this, we've come to the end of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also, kindly leave me feedbacks in the comment section till I come your way in my next tutorial where I'll be showing you how I copied this blue shirt to make mine. If that sounds like what you would like to see, kindly stay tuned to my channel till I come your way again. Bye for now.